Welcome back, Motorheads. This is Wagon Wednesday Finds on Facebook Marketplace. First got a 1954 Studebaker for $14,000. Yes, I know the ad said Chevrolet. They must not have been able to find an option for Studebaker. But however, this is a very cool Studebaker wagon, one you don't come across very often. And I thought this one here, even though they're asking $14,000, it really should be still taken into consideration, because if you've really been looking at Studebaker wagons and you really absolutely love these things, you know how hard they are to find in decent condition, if you even find an intact wagon. Now, I definitely was still trying to negotiate a better price than 14 grand on this one here, but if you're an absolute lover of the Studebaker wagon, this might be something you just have to have. Next got a 1967 Ford for $9,000. Now this here is a very cool 67. The body doesn't appear to be in too terrible of condition, at least from the pictures anyhow. This wagon, I definitely kind of find this a little bit more interesting just because it does have a mid-80s 302 in it, but what really gets my attention is this one here is a manual. This here has a top loader 4-speed, so it's definitely got the joystick in the floor just to make you smile a little harder every time you get in there and start banging some gears. But what do you guys think of this old 67? What do you think of that price tag? Make sure you leave it down in the comments. Next got a 1969 Oldsmobile for $13,000. That's a really cool old Oldsmobile wagon here, and the body from the pictures looks to be in pretty decent condition. Now I don't necessarily care for that little scallop they got going on the hood there. I don't care for that color. If it's a different color, it might look a little better. I'm not saying the design looked bad, just maybe not that color, not against that blue. But however, like I said, from the pictures, this wagon looks to be in fairly decent condition, and he's got a kind of more realistic price they have listed on this wagon. I still think I would try to negotiate better than $13,000 on this wagon, but overall, I don't think this would make somebody a bad little wagon. But what do you guys think of this old Oldsmobile? Leave it down in the comments. Next got a 1967 Chevrolet for $17,500. Got us another great looking old wagon here, and these old 67s, 68s, I thought they always had great body lines personally, and this one here actually doesn't look too bad in white. Usually I think the white needs to be broken up on a lot of vehicles, but it's actually working on this one here. Now he is asking $17,500 for this one here, and it's been on the market for at least a year, so either he hasn't found the right person with that deep a pocket, or he's a little too emotionally attached to this wagon and thinking it's worth $17,500, because he doesn't make this, the comment that it's very rare. It's not all that rare because it's got a third row seat, and I think that's what he was alluding to. Now this one here does have an LS swap, but is it worth $17,500? I'll leave it up to you guys. Next got a 1966 Chevrolet for $30,000. Seller claims this one here has got an overhauled 327. Me personally, I like them little 327s. I think they're pretty cool little engines, and you can get a little bit of power out of those things if you know what you're doing. Now overall, from the pictures of this old wagon, it looks to be in great condition, and I dig the color scheme they got going on with this one here. Actually, I like the way it was carried on to the inside. It matches, and it kind of just really brought this old wagon to life, in my personal opinion. I like the way it looks, and being a 66 definitely makes it pretty cool, because you don't come across a 66 wagon very often either that's in very decent condition. But what do you guys think of the 66? Leave it in the comments. Next got a 1968 Ford for $14,500. Now, even though I'm not a big fan of the front end on this wagon, I think it's kind of ugly. I just think they could have done a better job on the front end, is what I'm saying. But overall, from the pictures, the wagon appears to be in really good condition, and I don't think at $14,500 is too bad of a starting point. And you got some really good, strong negotiation skills and get that better than $14,500. I think this one here definitely makes somebody a pretty cool wagon. And I definitely don't think the color is bad either. I think it actually works on this particular car. But what do you guys think of this old 68? And that asking price, is he too high, is he too low, or is he just about right? Leave it down in the comments. Next got a 1963 Dodge for $12,000. Now, this is definitely a cool wagon because it is a two-door and it's a non-post two-door. It makes it very cool. But is it $12,000 cool? I absolutely don't think it's $12,000 cool. Not for a roller and not for a two-door 1963 Dodge wagon. Now, this is where I'm going to have to leave this up to you Mopar fanatics out there. Is this the right price or is he absolutely reaching? Leave it in the comments. Next, got a 1971 Chevrolet for $18,000. Now, this here is definitely a pretty cool old wagon as well. Now, he is asking $18,000. I'm not so on board with $18,000 on this particular wagon. Because looking at the pictures, I definitely see quite a bit of rust around them rear wheel wells. And that leads me to believe there's probably a little bit more rust hiding there. And you might be actually opening the door to Pandora's box there when you start digging into that rust. Because, you know, these things are notorious for rusting there. This is definitely one you're definitely going to have to get dirty, crawl around underneath, look it over very dang well before you make any kind of real offer on this. Definitely dig the interior though. But what do you guys think of this old 71? Next, got a 1967 Ford for $20,000. We got another pretty cool 67 Ford wagon, and I actually dig that color. I think it looks kind of good. And I definitely like the fact that it still has the wood on the side. That actually makes this a little bit cooler in my personal thoughts on it. Now, $20,000, I think that seems a little bit high. Now, from what I'm seeing here in the pictures, the car does appear to be in very good shape, but I just still don't know if I'm on board at $20,000 on this particular one. But what do you guys think after looking at the pictures? Is he asking too much for this one here? Is he asking not enough? Or is he right around where it needs to be at $20,000? Personally, I think he's dreaming at $20,000. I think this may be somewhere right around a $12,000 wagon. Next, got a 1956 Ford for $35,000. Now, I absolutely think this is a great looking old Ford wagon here. I dig that red and white together. Something about these old wagons, especially in the 50s, they look good with red and white. I mean, even though I'm not necessarily on board with always red and white because everybody does it too much, but you got to admit it just really looks good on these wagons. I like a little bit of shades of blue with the white. I think it looks better, but I'll damn sure take the red and white as well. Now, overall, this wagon looks to be in great condition, and it's a really good-looking wagon. I mean, it's a real eye-catcher from what you can see here in the pictures anyhow. The interior, a little too much red for me, but I understand why they did it. It's just not my thing, but $35,000, I don't know if I'm on board at $35,000. It is a very cool wagon, but is it $35,000 cool? You guys be the judge. Well, that's all I got for you today. If you liked today's video, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one.